Coming off of the end of the previous chapter, we saw Naoaya charge up for like this massive speed blitz attack, where we saw him go, as it stated, literally Mach 3, and he winds up ramming right into Maki. And that brings us to the beginning of this chapter here, where we're finding out that, no, she's not dead. I mean, we assumed that she wasn't because she was still kind of conscious at the end of the previous chapter, but she's still alive here, just taking some serious damage, of course, because Naoaya is incredibly powerful. But then Noritoshi comes back into the fight and fires off some blood arrows at Naoaya, but then we also see him just fully utilizing like a mass of blood here. And Naoya's like, is that his blood? Expending so much should kill him. Does he keep blood packs with him? But he's like, I get it. He could be circulating the blood he uses externally and bringing it back. That way he won't die of blood loss. So yeah, Noritoshi is utilizing blood manipulation to an extremely high level here, similar to Choso, but also different, and we'll get more into that. But he's bringing out like, I don't know, a gallon or more of his blood at this point and using it as like a variable weapon. And in order to not die from blood loss, of course, it's like constantly going in and out of him, like he's recycling his own blood, which isn't very hygienic, and you know, this leads to a lot of issues for sure, but you know, there's cursed energy mixed into this, so maybe that, you know, mitigates that. And also guys, if you like my Jujutsu Kaisen content, please subscribe if you haven't already. It's fine if you don't want to, but if you just need a reminder, here you go. Thanks. But after Noritoshi gets back with Maki, he's like, we can't afford to lose you right now. I'll hold him off. You get outside the barrier. Maki's like, no, I'm not leaving. You'll die if I do. And Noritoshi's like, the way things are going, we'll both die. I suspected you suffered internal damage. A brief rest won't be enough. And Maki's like, no, I'll be fine. Trust me, I'm not bluffing. I could heal my injuries. Give me 5 minutes. So that's super surprising because I guess we're learning another aspect of heavenly restriction here that we weren't privy to with Toji, because as far as I remember, I actually just recently made a video about Toji versus Gojo, and he didn't heal or anything like that. I mean, I wish he did after taking Hollow Purple, because, you know, I just want Toji to always be a part of the story, but that's neither here nor there. But we just didn't see Toji do anything like this, or it just wasn't explained to us. But Maki being able to heal her internal damage here makes sense, because heavenly restriction basically makes you like a superhuman. So, you know, you being super fast, super strong, it's understandable that you also have an accelerated healing ability as well. So what would take a normal person like weeks to heal, I guess she can heal in 5 minutes. And I guess this is going to be the out for Maki here, or at least the out for them ultimately being able to defeat Naoaya. Once Maki is fresh again, she's just going to come in and take out Naoaya at that point, or have a better chance of being able to do it. I don't think she's going to get some kind of like Saiyan Zenkai or something as to where she gets more powerful because she's healed, but it will be more so just her being fresh and not damaged, which is kind of like a power of, I guess at this point in the fight, like getting your second wind, if anything. So the whole thing going forward is Noritoshi trying to stay alive for 5 minutes while fighting off Naoaya so Maki can heal, recover, and then come back and finish the job. But anyway, Naoaya returns and he winds up running into like a blood net from Noritoshi. Noritoshi says he's faster than anything, but in terms of toughness, he barely compares to that thing. And that thing he's referring to Hanami here. Hanami, who he had fought at the end of the Kyoto Goodwill arc. He curls up when hitting top speed, so his own speed won't destroy him, which increases his toughness. But due to a binding vow, he isn't that tough the rest of the time. So that's really interesting, because we were actually talking about this in like the last 2 videos, basically comparing Naoaya to the big 4 natural curses. And I guess this confirms that he's faster than all of them, as you know, we assume, but his toughness isn't on the level of Hanami's. And what does toughness mean? I guess durability? Maybe physical strength as well, because it says he curls up when hitting top speed, so his own speed won't destroy him, which increases his toughness. And apparently there's like a binding vow that he put on himself as to where he can achieve that in exchange for not being that tough the rest of the time. Not really sure how Noritoshi knows this, unless she's just making a full-blown assumption here that Gege is kind of just turning into legit exposition. But it's possible that once Naoaya evolves to his final form, which we assume that he will, this is kind of just just like his middle stage. Maybe he'll just surpass that and he will be as tough as Hanami at that point, or maybe even tougher. But then Noritoshi says, and he reacts to the blood of blood manipulation users, which is poison to curse spirits. So that's super interesting and something that I guess we should have expected, because as we saw, Choso's blood was poison to humans. So it's understandable that it would be the opposite for Noritoshi, who's just a full-blown human. And also, funny enough, Naoya has been affected on both ends of the spectrum here, because he was poisoned by Choso while being a human, and now he's being poisoned by Noritoshi as being a curse. Then Naoya just swats Noritoshi away and winds up capitalizing on him, but Noritoshi just grabs him and spits blood into his turbine. This is like an amazing move, and I love the way that Noritoshi is utilizing this here. To be honest, blood manipulation users in general should always be doing stuff like this if given the opportunity. I mean, they're not always going to be hit hard enough as to where they're coughing up blood, but you know what I mean. And then he calls Naoya's bluff, and assuming that like he won't use like a big move because he'd be afraid of blood loss or something, but he's like, nah, I'm not afraid. I'm actually kind of ready to die. And he shoots a piercing blood at him point blank, and it pierces him. Then we kind of go into this inner monologue with Noritoshi where he's like, what would mother say? Would she chide me for not becoming a clan head? I failed to create a place for her in the house. And then I guess we're seeing like a flashback here, but his present self observing it in the moment. And this is in reference to his mother being like a mistress. She's not like the proper wife or whatever, or just not the proper person that was supposed to give birth to Noritoshi, because the proper woman didn't have the ability to give birth to someone with the blood manipulation technique, which is obviously like, you know, the make or break thing in these big Jujutsu families. So his father had to go to his mistress, which is obviously someone who is going to be ostracized here, especially given like the circumstances of everything. So Noritoshi's big goal here was to ultimately become the leader of the Kamo clan so he could essentially protect her, because otherwise she would just, like I said, be ostracized or scrutinized or just flat out exiled, or just bad things in general happening to her because of the way that these big families work. I mean, we saw how Maki and Mai were treated, but as we saw a couple chapters back, Kenjaku has now become the leader of the Kamo clan, meaning that Noritoshi's whole big goal here has failed and he no longer is able to protect his mother. So he's just like, you know what, I might as well just sacrifice myself in order to take out Naoya, so that at least everyone else has a chance of overcoming Kenjaku ultimately. Because he's like, let my comrades burn away their lives upon my ashes, which is an awesome line. But he says this after getting blasted by Naoya again, and then he suddenly like starts to do this crazy thing where blood is like starting to come up from the ground, and I'm not really sure what he's about to do here. Maybe like maximum technique possibly, or maybe he's like going into domain expansion possibly. And to be honest, this did seem like major death flags for Kamo at this point, and I was kind of expecting him to die until we come to the end of the chapter here, because these two random guys show up screaming sumo and katana, and that's where the chapter ends. So I have no idea who these guys are, but it's possible that they are sorcerers from like the past. But also we see like these markings on their face, or at least I assume they're markings. It could be taken as like they're crying, but they're so similar in that I think they're actually markings or scars or something. And it reminds me of like the way that we see the blood markings on blood manipulation users' faces. So it's possible that these could be like old Kamo clan members who are just coincidentally at the right place at the right time, and they were also part of like Kenjaku's deals that he made, and they're coming to maybe help Kamo, or they're just, I don't know, all fighting at the same time possibly. Or it's possible that they're like current day Kamo members and they were just in the culling game because they just happened to be there in that colony maybe. But regardless, I think they are like Kamo clan members to some extent. But you know, them making a deal with Kenjaku also makes sense because he was Noritoshi Kamo back in the day. So maybe that's when he made a deal with other Kamo clan members possibly. I don't know, it really could be both at this point. But let me know what you think about this chapter in the comments, guys. And if you liked the video, please give it a like and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day and I'll see you in the next one.